I don't care, you know, how you look at it. You got to know what you're doing to start with. So you're going to go in this room, you're going to say, how much money do I really need for next year and how much would I like to have? So you put that number down. That's a fictitious number because you don't know how you're going to get it. Now you're going to say, how are you going to get it? And it depends on what you do. Like myself, it's pretty easy. I'm in sales. How many houses do I have to sell to do that? So if you have a product or a service or a contract or whatever, you need to know how many people you're going to have. Now, let's suppose that somebody did need $3,500 a month just to break even. That's what they needed. And they're selling hamburgers. Wouldn't it really be important to know how many hamburgers they had to sell in order to get that $3,500? No matter what anybody said, oh, your hamburgers are great, you know, I know you're going to get rich. How many hamburgers do I have to sell? And if it's an outrageous number, you need to tell yourself, no matter how much you like the idea, you know, that's not going to happen. Save yourself some money. But if it could happen, you know, whatever it is, however many houses I had to sell or what, then the next thing I would have to look at is, how am I going to get those sales? And for me, you know, and it's so great if you break things down like this. It just makes life so much easier. So for myself, and I hope you guys don't mind, I just use real estate as an example because it is what I know. But each of you, you know, whatever business you're in, you can figure it out, you know, how much it would take to get what you want and where you're going to get that business. And we can't just assume that the business is going to come because it came this year, you know, or it came last year. So I don't know where it's going to come. I'm going to have a lot of positive thinking, and I'm not going to watch the news, and I'm not going to hang out with negative people. You know, what's that all about? What does that have to do with what you're going to do? So you're going to need to look at where is. And if you're going to increase your business, let's say that you decide you're going to increase your business by 10%, your net income by 10%. Then you're going to have to figure out how you're going to increase it. Say in real estate, for example, I might say, I want to do 24 sales next year. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make a form, which I always have, just plain, simple form, because I'm a really simple person. I'm going to put sales, projected sales and actual sales, listings, how many listings you're going to sell, where they're going to come from. Maybe I'm going to say, well, I'm going to how many in a month I'm going to have. And that's another good thing about that because it gives you a break. Let's say that I said I'm going to have 24 sales next year, and they're going to come equally from sales and listings. And in January I'm going to have 1, and you know, May I'm going to have 3, and by the middle of the year I got 12. But we have a really bad winter. January and February, the snow's deep, nobody's going to be looking at houses. I have 0. That's okay because I can catch up. You know, give yourself room to catch up. Always give yourself room to catch up in any goal that you set. Don't put, even though we need to have, with SMART goals, we need to have them be timely. We have the time frame set, but it's too easy. If I looked at that and I saw in January I didn't have anything, in February I didn't have anything, but I had projected I was going to get 1 each month. Now I don't have anything. What are you more likely going to say? Well, you know, it's just not going to happen. Just not going to happen. I might as well just give that up, and you just give it up, and you didn't even do anything with it to start with. You know, you're giving up something you didn't have. So you don't want to do that. You want to give yourself time. But let's just say that I would say maybe I'm going to have 2 from for sale by owners, 2 from chamber networking groups. I'm going to get, you know, something from that. I'm going to maybe have a business booth. I said, well, you know, maybe the chamber's doing a nice event this year, and I'll have a business booth there, and I'll have a lot of exposure. So I'm going to put that as an expense, of course, because I'm going to have to keep up with my expenses too, aren't I? So all these areas where I'm going to get the business. Now, maybe I say, okay, you know, I can account for the 24, but I really wanted to increase my business by 10%. And let's just say my business is something else. Look at Tony. Tony is a business broker, which is different from a real estate person. But he puts businesses together, you know, buyers and sellers. Maybe he's looking at his goal and he's saying, you know, where am I going to get that extra 10% that I want, or whatever it is? Maybe I could work on a niche. Maybe what I would like to specialize in and put myself out as a specialist in is bars. So maybe, you know, I could become a bar specialist. I don't know, Tony's barman. and so that's what he's going to specialize with. And so he's going to figure out how he could help. There's the strategic part in the marketing. He's going to figure out how he could actually market to those bar owners. Let's suppose Ken, an attorney there, we could only assume that Ken might need more business occasionally. Ken wants more business. He wants to increase his business 10% next year. So he's going to develop some specialty. Not that he doesn't already have one, but he's going to develop one that maybe he doesn't have now. Maybe he's going to say, you know, I'm going to promote the fact that everybody needs a will because I know that most people don't have a will, so I'm going to become kind of the will specialist. That's not a really good example because wills are pretty small. But he could do that, couldn't he? Maybe he would start with where he could get the most business would be maybe engaged couples, people that just got married, or people that seniors. So he could, you know, he could make his plan for that niche. So you figure out how you're going to get that extra business if you can't see how you're going to get it. Then the next, does that make sense to you guys? Mm-hmm. Does it to everybody or no? Because you're going to need to constantly be increasing your business, and the way you do it is choosing different ways you can do it. I just think of the niches, and that's to me that's a pretty simple way to increase your business, and almost everybody can do it. Like you guys could hone in on a particular segment of the population that needed exercise, which I guess is just about everybody, from the news again and those films they show, little bites on the news, fat people in jeans. So that's something everybody can do. And not only that, but guys, when you're sitting there doing it, now you're into this. I mean, you know, when we're just talking about it, like, oh, God, you know, I don't really want to do that, blah, blah, blah. But then when you're sitting there by yourself, without the telephone or the texting or the computer, you're just sitting there, you and the paper, and you're doing this, and you're really thinking about it, and you're thinking, wow, you know, well, I wonder why I didn't do that before. I wonder why I didn't think about that before. So now you're getting kind of excited. So you think, well, now, okay, I've got the plan. This is what's going to happen. How am I going to implement that plan? So now you're going to have to think of how much your expenses are going to increase. If you're going to get a booth, and you know you're going to have to pay for the booth, are you going to have handouts? The particular niche of property of people that you're going to be marketing to with your niche, if that's what you chose, could be like a farm, and a farm is, you know, a demographic or geographic population at least. And if you're doing, you know, a farm type, always have at least 200, because if you're going to do any direct mail pieces, you're going to be able to get the bulk rate. And that's approximately half of what it costs to mail first class. And it's really easy, and, you know, that's another subject. But so you want to choose at least 200 people. And then you want to say, okay, what am I going to do with these 200 people? Now, as a minimum, if you're going to do geographic or demographic farming, or if you're going to have any kind of base, you're going to want to give them something. Let's say Tony the barman. A minimum, if he's going to do with his bars, he's going to have a little tag, and this could work for some other people that actually go out. He's going to have like a little sticker with his name and phone number on it, and he's going to stick it on some things at the bars that he puts together for the buyers, so that, you know, they're not going to forget him. He's probably going to, minimum, have magnetic business cards, so they can put it on the refrigerator. He's going to have, minimum, a calendar. And he's going to go around and visit these bars, so it's just going to take time. He's not going to take them anything, because why do you think he would want to do that? I mean, I'm not in the bar business. I haven't been in a bar in, Lord, I don't even know how many years. So I don't know anything about bars, but just thinking about it, why would Tony want to go visit the people he's sold bars to or the people he's giving things?
Well, he's building relationships with those people.
He's building a relationship with them, but he's doing more than that, because who comes to bars? Vendors.
Yeah.
Who would know who's going to sell or buy a bar? First, probably the vendors. So if his space is right there, the vendors come in, the guy, you know, they say, well, by the way, you know, whoever the bar person is, you know, I'm glad you're buying this much beer or wine or whatever, because so-and-so over here is thinking to sell their business. They're not doing well. Well, if Tony's face is right there and he's at the top of their mind, they'll say, hey, you know, I know a guy, Tony the barman. He could help you. Doesn't that make sense? So that would be part of the marketing to increase that 10%, and any of you could do it in different ways, you know. But those are things that are going to cost money, right? So we need to add those into the expenses. So you need to make sure that your expenses you're thinking about. You have a plan in advance, so you're not just buying things willy-nilly. You know, somebody comes to a networking meeting and they've got this really cute little thing that jumps out of the something and, you know, skitters over the table, and you think, oh, that is the cutest thing. You know, I'm going to give that to everybody. And they're just going to remember me for that. Not. So you want to, you know, think about how much you're spending, what you're doing with that. Then, you know, you put it all together. You subtract it, your projected expenses from your projected income, and see if the figure that comes out works. If it doesn't work, you're going to have to make changes right there. Now you put it down, you write it, but you put it in, I suggest that somehow you put it in blocks. You know, have it like on one page, not line by line, but, you know, just draw some blocks and write in what you're going to do, because that's going to be a lot easier for you to keep up with. At least once a month, you should look at that.